listened to sections of the presentation of the budget. And a government or political cycle in Dominica is every 5 years. So that would mean if you get into office, you will have articulated a vision and a goal to grow the economy, grow the private sector, and grow aspects of the country where the resources can be used for maximum development for everybody in the country. So your budget cannot be about who support me and who doesn't support me, but what is in the best interest of the country to make the country move forward. So from year one, when you become the party in office, you would have created a budget that reflects your vision, your long-term vision for the growth and development of Dominica. But it seems like every year, the budget address seems to be a show where women wear large hats and men make a fool of themselves and lie to the public in parliament, make promises, and every time election is close, you see some pie in the sky declarations in parliament. We've seen them over and over again. The Prime Minister of Dominica continuously lies in our parliament. So at this point, the guy is not credible in anything he says. Neither is the Minister of Finance, who follows his direction, Matthew. So at this point, a budget in Dominica, a budget address, makes absolutely no sense, because we've seen not a 5-year cycle, but we've seen a government in office for 25 years. And they cannot come to parliament and say, here's the vision we articulated for Dominica 25 years ago. Here is where we are. The people of Dominica have been benefiting. The private sector has grown. Jobs have increased. But all we've heard over that 25 years is excuses. It was external shock. It was Maria. It was hurricane this. And I think the government is the luckiest in getting excuses for their failures. All these natural disasters to cover their failures. So from year to year, what we've had is just issues. And you cannot remove that in one section and then increase taxes and levies in other sections. That is crippling the country. And that's what it seems to be happening. It's an illusion. And then finally, Matt Peltier, I heard the Minister of Finance talking about the airport is 40% complete. The people of Dominica were told that the airport was going to build with CBI funds. Well, I am not convinced that you are going to sell citizenship certificates to raise $1.2 billion for the construction of an airport. So if the airport is 40% complete, the minister should now tell the people how much that is related to the finances that have been raised. So is he telling us now that we have raised 40% of the finances through CBI sales to build that airport? That would equal about probably I would guess $600 million so far, because he said it's 40% complete. You guys can do the maths. And he has to tell the people how many citizenship certificates we have sold. We have to see those on the Gazette. We have to understand what is the relationship, or what is the selling point of the citizenship, the people who buy citizenship, as it relates to raising revenue for the passport. Who is overseeing MMC and the funds they have raised on behalf of the people of Dominica? And come clean with the people of Dominica and tell the people of Dominica whether the CBI passport is paying for the airport or the Chinese government is building the airport. Whether we're using grants, whether we're using loans, because it seems like you have a structure going up, you have airport going up, you have geothermal plant going up, you have all kind of stuff going up, but the productivity of the country does not reflect that. Plus, our budget is mainly to pay debt. So nothing makes sense in the grand scheme of things, because the country is not very productive. Yet we have more infrastructure and capital projects going up. That doesn't make any sense for the kind of productivity and the population the country has. So something's amiss, and these folks need to stop insulting our intelligence and complaining. I bet.
All right, thank you very much. So let's continue. We'll do this and we'll come back, Dominica. This is the hot set. Stick around.
Continue supporting families across the country. We'll be expanding the list of exempted items in the upcoming financial year for a period of 6 months. Exemption of value-added tax on salted herrings, codfish, onions, garlic, split peas, red beans, black-eyed peas, lentils, pigeon peas, cream of wheat, cornmeal, oats, luncheon meat, canned corned beef, canned herring, canned sardines, canned tuna, canned mackerel, cereals, wheat, bran, etc., biscuits, unsweetened as well, orange juice, tomato ketchup, toothpaste, laundry detergents, toilet paper, sanitary napkins. And Mr. Speaker, will also remove import duty on pigeon peas, luncheon meat, canned corned beef, cereals, biscuits, orange juice, tomato ketchup, toothpaste, laundry detergent, almond milk, soy milk. These additions will take effect
Take
October
some
1.
advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG United Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG United. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Carifesta is sound and movement. Carifesta is soca and bouillon, ska and spooge, reggae and dancehall, Iso, zouk and ring bang, compa, rumba and ratatat. The rhythms of the region, made with love and pure Caribbean energy. Come for Carifesta 15 in Barbados. Book your stay now at visitbarbados.org/Carifesta.
Cause I'm on my way. KFC delivery is here. Just place your order at www.kfcdominica.com, Facebook or WhatsApp at 614-2633 and your order will be delivered to you. KFC, it's good. Cause I'm on my way.
If you know your favorite store, dial it now. 612-1253. That's Mega. You can rely on Mega for some real deals on name brand clothing and electronics. High quality, low price. We are a wholesale and retail store located in Calabishi, right on the main road. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram as Mega Deals Dominica. Like our page. Check out our stuff. Call us. Visit us. Would appreciate that. Come try it on. Love it. Buy it at Mega Deals. Your one and only online and brick and mortar store. Mega Deals is also on wheels. We make it convenient for your shopping. We deliver straight to your door. Email us at info@megadealsda.com. Rely on Mega Deals for some real deals.
Continue supporting families across the country. We'll be expanding the list of exempted items in the upcoming financial year for a period of 6 months. Exemption of value-added tax on salted herrings, codfish, onions, garlic, split peas, red beans, black-eyed peas, lentils, pigeon peas, cream of wheat, cornmeal, oats, luncheon meat, canned corned beef, canned herring, canned sardines, canned tuna, canned mackerel, cereals, wheat, bran, etc., biscuits, unsweetened as well, orange juice, tomato ketchup, toothpaste, laundry detergents, toilet paper, sanitary napkins. And Mr. Speaker, will also remove import duty on pigeon peas, luncheon meat, canned corned beef, cereals, biscuits, orange juice, tomato ketchup, toothpaste, laundry detergent, almond milk, soy milk. These additions will take effect October 1, 2025.
My Dominicans will never feel the effects of those exemptions on goods. The business places have stocks bought without exemptions, and that has to be sold under the current prices. By the time those stocks finish, the 6 month period is either up or almost over. Do you think in this country of no price control, these vendors will pass on the concessions to the public? A question being asked, very, very fair question as well. Huh? I'll repeat that. Dominicans will never feel the effects of those exemptions on goods because the business places have stocks bought without exemptions. It has to be sold at the current prices. By the time those stocks finish, the 6 month period is either up or almost over. Do you think that the country of no price control, these vendors will pass on the concessions to the public? Let's take a phone call. Hello, talk to me. Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Good morning to you, Peter.
Matt, complications are going to arise with this VAT exemption for only 6 months. When I arrive at the cashier and I buy 20 items, but 10 of the items, including sardines, within those 10 items are VAT-free. She punches at the end of her calculation on the machine. The VAT, how is the VAT not going to apply to all the VAT exempted items? Some complications are going to arise. And the postings clerk at the end of the month, when they're calculating, so we sold so much corned beef, so much sardine, so much sanitary napkins. So those are VAT free. And what's going to stop the importer from telling me at the cashier at the counter when I reach the end of the cashier?
The queue.
Well, the price also went up overseas. So the price went up correspondingly, and you remove the VAT. Government, you have to go and monitor that closely.
Very close. Very close, yes.
You cannot remove the VAT and not have control and not have a close eye on what's going on with the calculations of the pricing if you want to protect the public. The Consumer Protection Department have to get activated, because I don't want to have a fight at the cash register with the cashier. Matt, on another note, the average is not the car dealers you're hurting, government. Dr. Minister of Finance, is not the car dealers you're going to hurt. 2010 models are 15 years old. The statistics will show that in the last 25 years, 30,000 vehicles were imported of 15 years and older. Why, Matt? Because that's what they can afford, and they go directly online to import their own vehicles. They don't come through the car dealers. And now it's not only $10,000 you're now putting the environmental tax. It's going to be $15,000, Matt. Let me tell you why. The $10,000 is now going to be subject to 28% excise tax on that $10,000. And plus, the 15% VAT is now going to calculate cascading effect on the 28% plus the environmental tax. So at the end of the total, you're going to be close to $15,000. So who you hurting?
So you're saying that's not a poor man's budget, Peter, as I said earlier.
Well, the guys are arguing with me on the group chat that I smiling, I happy. We happy, the car dealers happy. But they cannot afford the brand new vehicles anyway. The average consumer, the average buyer cannot afford. He says, Peter, I have my internet, I have my laptop. I can go and order my own vehicle. Well, now you're going to be paying $15,000 more on a 2010 vehicle and older. So who the argument is the derelict vehicle. Peter Prosper is the one that caused that, you know. Every Sunday for more than a year, he blows in derelict vehicles that are abandoned all over the island, all streets in Goodwill, all lanes everywhere. Fellas are just abandoning their vehicles. Why? Because they can't get the spare parts. Not that they cannot afford to maintain the vehicles. They cannot get the spare parts for them. So on one side, it's a good idea. On the other side, you're going to hurt the average buyer. So I don't know how you're going to make it a balancing, but that everybody will be happy. There's going to be a fallout. There is going to be a fallout, certainly. Have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. Of course, we heard some good news. I think the government was meeting with some business people about the taking over, if you will, of the Kubuli factory, so we can have some water business, the export of water to some countries in the region. Some company, I don't know if it's local, overseas, is thinking of taking over the Kubuli factory and turn it to a water bottling plant. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Not.
Yes, sir.
It's good.
Everything is good for now.
Yeah, everything is all right.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, and tell you that. Now, the problem is, if your man really know what they're doing, but if you really know what they're doing, and another note again now, what I need to know now is there a bike club on island when they have the bike chest and what have you, and who financing that? I want to know. These two questions. All the best.
All right, thank you. I think there's some bike organizations, and we need to talk a little about that sometime later. There was some, a lot of people got excited. A lot of people were kind of disturbed about this biking activities, but we'll talk about that sometime later. Okay, let's see if we can get a voice though.
Matt, it is very sad. All those things they exempt in there are imported stuff. We're not producing none of those stuff, Matt. I don't know what I don't know what the minister talking about. We're not producing none of the stuff they're exempting things on. It is sad. A lot of the things they're exempting, we could have produced them in Dominica.
Somebody says Peter is correct. We have to adjust our accounting system in the financial year. Our companies must prepare to train staff to do just that. 4493095. It was not complicated there. Of course, our companies must be prepared to train staff on how to do so. We have to adjust our accounting system in the next financial year. Or maybe we have to change the whole supermarket arrangements around and say that is VAT free, huh? Teacher, please don't teach me stupidness. You said cream of wheat, oats, cornmeal, and cereals. So what are the cereals? Somebody's asking. Please, teacher, don't teach me stupidness. 4493095. The math is not math in here. Let's go back to the telephone. And I said that, of course, economist Dr. Thompson Fountain, leader of the United Workers' Party, is scheduled to be with me this morning, 10 o'clock, reviewing the 2025-26 budget. On the telephone, hello, yes. Oh, sorry. Let's try another call. Good morning.
That is just me again. Not all that magic we're going through there. I think we are Dominicans that are allowing that, because maybe of our greed. Some of us, we're not, how do you call it? Blessed ourselves and educated about politics and what is going on in the country. All of us, a lot of us is just looking for me, myself, and I, and what I can get, and not what the country needs. Up to yesterday, a person was telling me that. First of all, well, right about now, people have to be looking for themselves. That's what about the country. When everybody look for themselves, what the hell going to happen to the country? Then everybody else from away will come and do what they want in the country because we're looking for me, myself, and I. And that shouldn't be. Look at things here this morning in court. That's a pity. I can't come. So maybe tomorrow or what date is I could come to court. And if I hear that, know that earlier, we could come to court maybe and give them some, moral support. But we cannot because sometimes they just tell you the day they're going to court. We can just put everything down and rush down by the court. And if we Dominicans used to stand with one another in the correct sense, Dominica would be a lot better. We wouldn't have carried that McIntyre forming the Royal A with us. They wouldn't be able for that. But they know what kind of people we are. Some of us docile, just looking to see what I can get. Well, I asked to get that. They promised me a house. They promised you a house, but the house not yours. You haven't paid 1 cent for a house. How the hell the house going to be yours? You haven't paid nothing for it. It can't be yours. They're just borrowing it to you, and you can't tell them that. And we begging for them people to get papers to a house. Let them people ask for their papers. If a government come into office and they want to give them their papers, let them do that. The government is coming to tell them what they're going to do for them. We shouldn't be on the radio just calling to beg for paper for them when they're not begging for papers for themselves. That's why we're in a serious situation in that country. We get in this, we get in that. Budget speech is just a parade of fashion. That is all, and people that are talking of recycle. Meanwhile, the damn place dirty all over. You pass is a heap of rubbish. That cycle is in tongue, that patrons in tongue all over the weekend. Foreigners here from some kind of what's his name, Mr. Later had, Union had, and the place in a mess. That is what we have to be concerned about. Not to say in one spot, no matter all where you pass is in rubbish in the middle of roads. Oh, rubbish pile up there, that pile up there, this pile up there. And on the derelict, because some of them, they're just there and they're just stripping them and leave them by the roadside. But I have one parked by me. It's not a complete derelict vehicle. Typically, man cannot get a part. Yes, he's looking for parts for the window to wind up or the wiper, and you just can't get it. Send for it there, send for it over there, and you just can't get it. And right now, the vehicle is there. But I have 2 others parked. I consider them derelict, and then people can come and take them any damn time they're ready because we don't know who the hell parked them there. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.
A wallet belonging to Nikita Augustus was found. You can collect at the sales Q95 sales office. So if you know anybody called Nikita Augustus, your wallet has been found, and please collect at the sales office at Q95, okay? Good morning, man. Couldn't the minister just say legumes instead of listing out all the different peas and beans? He just dragged out to make the list longer. That's the point as well. Ella, talk to me on the telephone. Yes. Good morning to you, sir. Mm-hmm.
A pleasant man. But I want to remain optimistic about the present budget.
Okay.
But I still a little bit taken back because when I look at the past 2 budgets and money that was allocated to the different ministry and what was spent and what did not spend as well, I kind of been confused. And as much as I want to remain optimistic, when I put that question to myself, Mato, it kind of have me in a tangled situation.
You're a little less optimistic. You're more pessimistic. Yes.
Exactly. Because I looking at the past 2 budgets and money that was really allocated and how much that was spent there and did not spend. And should I remain optimistic about this one as to what we're going to spend? And then still searching for a short-term method that can have an impact on our economy, and I yet to see that and understand. So it's troubling matter. It's troubling, and that is one of the $1 million question this morning. You question yourself about the past two budget, and can you remain optimistic about this one? Matter bless morning.
That's a fair assessment. Yes, because of what happened in the past, you're not too optimistic going forward. Somebody's saying, like everything else, it will be a foreigner running the water business like everything else. Might be a Chinese. I stand corrected. Just let's wait and see, yes, because as I'm being told, some foreigner may be interested in taking over the Kubuli water business. Mad civil servants will get loans to build, pay interest based on the bank's assessment of credit worthiness and time to pay, among other things. If the loans come from the government, they can choose what interest civil servants will pay. However, if it's from the banks, a government covering the balance of interest from the bank to help decrease what civil servants will pay. No, it's coming from, I think it's government housing loan bond or something like that. So it's coming from the government side of things, okay? That's 2%. Civil servants are being encouraged to take loans to build homes, but I think they've been offered at 2%. Hello, talk to me. Yes, good morning. From the government.
Good morning to you, Matt.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Your listeners, Matt. Matt, I did not listen to the budget, but I got some things and I read through the budget, read through it, Matt. And this government is like a government on crutches. They're giving us duty-free or whatever free for 6 months. What I believe is going to happen, that 6 months reprieve that we are going to get, the merchants are going to capitalize on that in the last few weeks or double down on it and get this material, this stuff in and get the profit out of it. And when they're getting 6 trucks at what time and then 6 more later, Matt, I just believe if we happen to get 6 trucks at any point, that will just make people believe we got all the trucks. Matt, I do not believe we are going to get 10 trucks at all. As a minister said when I was doing work for Solid Waste, he came in the other and said he have to see the trucks on the pot for him to believe it, Matt. Good morning. You
just don't believe that. 4493095. The apartment was built after the hurricane. The springs now contaminated. Somebody's saying he's talking about the water supply for the water plant being spoken about at this time. I'm sure there'll be a water treatment process. I'm sure. On the telephone, hello, yes? 44930959697. Man, this is the way this government is trying to support local companies. Can the government work with the local water company instead of working with the foreign company to bottle water? Well, they did not reveal. When I heard the minister this morning, I don't think he revealed as to what company it is, if it's foreign or local. Some assume it may be foreign. We'll find out. Hello, talk to me, yes? Yes, sir.
But do you have the archive when the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister was speaking about that there was already nice fire truck? Do you have the archive? Not the fire truck.
The fire truck, I think so. I have to find it. The fire truck,
please play it for us and play it for us, and I want to ask them, where is that fire truck? Because it's not yesterday they were talking about the already fire truck. So I want to know if that fire truck haven't finished built as yet. So play that archive for me, please, so we can know if we're going to get 10 garbage truck, man. Please.
All right. We'll try to find out. Let's take a break. We'll come back, Dominica. as I said, we are awaiting the minister or the leader of the United Workers' Party. He'll speak at about the 10 o'clock hour and reviewing the budget. And 1 o'clock, we have Mr. Ito and Joshua Francis. Again, more reviews of that budget. We're going to take this break. I will come back, Dominica. This is about, it's 9:37 in the morning. Stick around, stick around.
At Blue Box, we now carry and are fully stocked in granola fertilizers. Urea 46%, great for leafy green, 15, great for all vegetables or young fruit trees. 20, best for foliar spray and seedings and small vegetables. 12, great for tree crop or flowering vegetables and fruits. 12, root crop fertilizer like dasheen and white potato. 12, great for tree crops or flowering vegetables and fruits. Red potash for fruit trees and vegetables. All the fertilizers you need are available at Bloombox, located on Federation Drive, Goodwill, second property on the right after the Valley League Road. Your one-stop shop for everything that grows. Let's bloom together.
It's in the feeling in our reach. It's in the meaning in our smile. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. Get rid of all these one thing. Together going strong. No matter what we keep them going. Before we go, it's up in the sky. Celebrate and let your rhythm flow.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, the Sunblast juices, Thomas Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Set sail this summer. Compliments of Going Places Travel. Win 2 ferry tickets to your choice of St. Lucia, Guadeloupe, or Martinique. Book any flight or cruise from June 9th to July 31, and you're automatically entered. Call 448-2550 or visit our office today.
We are Going Places Travel. We're the travel experts, Caribbean's largest travel agency.
Into any of our offices or visit us at goingplacestravel.com.
Mouvement créole. Secure. Tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique. Et puis Radio Créole que présenter. Mouvement créole. Tous les mardis soirs à 6 après-midi. Information, blague, interview, problème, discussion, reportage, apprendre à parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton peuple créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement créole. Nous faisons rendez-vous, messieurs, mesdames, tous les mardis soirs. UFM qui frappé avec bon parole créole. Sans ça participer, qui est nous? Rapidement, Timamaina. Mouvement créole. À ce grand station UFM. Voici avec nous tous les mardis soirs, 6h pour Mouvement créole. Matchez ça.
Bell Bagay, the biggest mini one-day only Me Bell Bagay market sale is happening in Shimon in Port Michelle on Saturday, August 2nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. All tradesmen, housewives, carpenters, vendors, chefs, boutique owners, carpenters, homeowners, gift buyers, gift senders, gift givers. Bring your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your business partner. Everybody is taking home on Bell Bagay from Shimonette in Port Michelle, August 2nd. By bus, by car, taxi, by foot, bicycle, mobilette, and tricycle. Come early to avoid the rush as everything must go. Coffee makers, hot cups, petty tool, portable drills, handle tools, multiple speed, fruit and vegetable blender, juices, oyster choppers, hyper tough, rechargeable, handy power saws, hair dryers, ladies spin brush, hair sets. It is all fashionable shoes, and so many other mini Bell Buckeye products to choose from. For one day only, Saturday, August 2nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Shimena, Point Michelle, Saturday coming.
Prepaid customers can now have big bonus rewards like bonus data, prizes, and more every time you activate a 3-day prepaid plan or larger. Activate a plan, then scratch to reveal your bonus data. Plus, get points for extra prizes. The more you activate, the more bonus data and prizes you can win. Get in on the big bonus rewards. You activate a prepaid plan. Dial *129# or visit topupflow.com to activate a plan today.
Looking for power and performance in your cleaning game? Say hello to the world-class brand trusted by homes across the globe. The Polio Chloro Bleach kills 99.9% of viruses and bacteria. Whether it's your bathroom, kitchen, or laundry, Sapolio Chloro gets the job done. And for laundry, try Sapolio Ultra Laundry Detergents with floral, citrus, and gentle baby formulas. Deep cleaning, fresh scent, tough on stains in sizes from 450 grams to 4 kg. Stains won't stand a chance against the Polio Color Stain Remover 3-in-1. It removes stains, delivers high performance, and comes at a great price. Available in 550 ml, 930 ml, and 1800 ml. Want something lemony fresh? Grab the Polio liquid detergent, light, powerful, and perfectly sized at 200 ml. Don't forget to disinfect the smart way with Sapolio disinfectant. Kills 99.9% of germs and comes in pine, lavender, baby, lime, apple, and floral scents. Available from 800 ml to 4.9 liters. Sapolio, clean power, fresh life. Available now at ISA Trading Limited, your favorite shopping location here in Dominica. When you think clean, think Sapolio. Think ISA Trading Limited. We are making a difference for you.
Exciting news! Auto Trade. Incredible savings are here. Take advantage of Auto Trade's Thrifty Thursday promotion. Mark your calendars. On the last Thursday of each month, Auto Trade is offering up to 20% off items throughout the store. Yes, 20% off. But wait, here's more. Keep your eyes peeled for our exclusive Deal of the Day offer, bringing you even bigger discounts on select items. Whether you're looking for car accessories, maintenance essentials, or just browsing for a great deal, we've got you covered. So be sure to swing by Auto Trade every last Thursday. At Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship. Terms and conditions apply.
Bell Buckeye, the biggest mini one-day only Bell Buckeye Market Sale is happening in Chimenef in Port Michelle on Saturday, August 2nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. All tradesmen, housewives, carpenters, vendors, chefs, boutique owners, carpenters, homeowners, gift buyers, senders, gift givers. Bring your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your business partner. Everybody is taking home only Bell Buckeye from Chimenef in Port Michelle, August 2nd. By bus, by car, by foot, bicycle, mobilette, and tricycle. Come early to avoid the rush as everything must go. Coffee makers, hot cups, petty drill, portable drills, handle tools, multiple speed, protein vegetable blender, juicers, oyster mini choppers, hyper tough, rechargeable handy power saws, hair dryers, ladies spin brush, hair sets, ladies all occasion fashionable shoes, and so many other mini Bell Buckeye products to choose from. One day only, Saturday, August 2nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Chimenef, Point Michelle, Saturday coming.
Big news! Dominica Do-It Center is now even closer to you with the opening of Do-It Center Express, conveniently located on Cork Street, right next to Fresh Market. Get all your home improvement essentials fast with everything from tools and paints to home decor and more. Plus, enjoy the same great service you know and trust. Now, just a quick stop in the city. Visit us today at Do-It Center Express, your partner in home improvement, now closer than ever.
All right, Dominica, we're here. We're back. This is the Hot Sit Dominica most talked about talk show. We're taking more of your phone calls. We're looking at the budget this morning. Let's take a voice note. It's 13 to the hour of 10. Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Peltier. I'm listening to your program this morning with the budget, and you mentioned the water company. You know, I sent you a little short note a while ago as far as foreign interest taking over the water. Man, the budget is just semantics. It's more the same thing. For 20 years, the government been fooling and lying to the people. So I hope they don't expect any different. It's just another person's face up there, but it's the same thing, same deal. You get the same life from the previous finance minister. You're gonna get the same life from the current finance minister, because it's a ventriloquist and a puppet in place. If you know what I'm talking about, the ventriloquist has his hand in the back of the puppet, and is the one who has his back in the puppet's back, his hand in the back of the puppet speak. But that done, because I'm not paying attention to that budget. It's a waste of time, really, for me, you know. But the people can deal with it because they have to sit on the island and go along with this kind of nonsense and take the beating. As far as the water thing, Matt, like every other resource we have on the island, Dominicans will never get rich on their own resources. It's all been given away, sold to somebody else. Whatever. Same way Kubuli. You see, Kubuli was doing beer. Kubuli done gone somewhere to St. Lucia. Window business, Chinese. Everything Chinese. Everything Chinese. Because we just love to say it with pride. Or the Chinese gonna give us that. We could get a grant from China. We sound like a bunch of slaves depending on somebody else. When we have a man running the country that look like me, you, and the rest of the nation, and everything that is dear to the people, where the people can build a nation to be self-sufficient, is given away to a foreign company. I hear boasting about the new hospital down there in Portsmouth. Over the weekend, I heard the news up here on a radio station. It's a Caribbean radio station. Well, not basically they give Caribbean information, news and whatnot, music. And they said something about the new hospital down in Portsmouth. It's nowhere close to what Ross used to be. But the Prime Minister bigging it up and always this and that. It's more play and, you know, just smoke, blowing smoke up people's rear. Man, it's the country is in dire straits. One man said they need to run him out of office, run them out of office. I think it's a brethren from Antigua somewhere, you know, he calls, send you a note sometime. I'm right there with him, man. It's too much, Matt. It's frustrating listening to the stuff that's taken in the country and the abuse and all the lies and trickery. And, you know, Matt, I'm listening, but I just like listening because you do good service to the public. And for those of us who are away and don't really see what's going on and know what's going on. So I always want to make sure I give a big up, big thanks to you for doing what you do, because without you, a lot of us be lost. We would not know what's going on because the other side of the propaganda machine, lying to people all day long. Matt, thank you very much. Bye.
Trying to put that clip in place in terms of the water company announced there by the minister, of course, Mr. McIntyre. Very big move, I would say, you know, to, of course, pass on our water company to be negotiating for that water company. Man, yes. It uses a foreign water company, a foreign company for the water. I just pray it's not Chinese, huh? Somebody else is saying, I hope the company is not a laundromat. Government couldn't get help probably for years. Instead of trying to give Crazy Coco $1 million for a dance place at the time. Someone is now asking a very interesting question. How can we have a water company erected when our own Prime Minister said the current electrical grid won't support it? Interesting question, huh? Well, geothermal has been promised. Let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller?
Hey, yes, Matt. Good morning.
My brother, how you doing? How you doing?
Matt, I'm doing good, Matt. I'm doing good. Matt, I listened to an insert from the finance minister in respect to the minimum wage. Matt, suddenly the minimum wage is on the table thanks to the leader of the United Workers' Party. Matt, the biggest challenge facing Dominica today is the question of the brain drain and human resource drain. To capture that, to stop the brain drain, we have to pay attention to what's causing it. And critically, Matt, is the low wages, Matt. Persons are leaving Dominica and going overseas because they're getting more money for the same work they're doing in Dominica. To capture that, you must pay attention to how much money people are drawing. That is why Dr. the Honorable Thompson Fountain has pledged to the Dominican people that, look, a United Workers' Party government led by him is going to move the minimum wage to $12 an hour. And that is why it is on the agenda today.
So how much is this government promising in terms of the minimum wage? How much are they promising?
They cannot come up after 20-something years in government. They cannot come up with a figure. They're telling you in October they will be able to come up with a figure. You in government for 20-something years and you don't have the data at your fingertip. So they tell the Dominican people, they fool them and tell them by October, they will talk to the experts and tell you how much they are prepared to pay. Matt, we are saying to them, the United Workers' Party is saying, the Dr. Fountain is saying to them, based on his experience in finance and economics, he is pledging $12 an hour because he knows what to do to the economy. He will not allow Ross University to go. He will not allow Bello to just destroy, disappear, creating thousands of dollars in the economy by farmers selling pepper and other things to the Dominican people, buying from the Dominican farmers, creating in the country. So essentially what we are saying to the Dominican people is that after 25 years, the Labour Party has run out of ideas and they are piggybacking on the leader of the United Workers' Party, promises he are making to the people in the 10-pillar projects that he intends to work on to create wealth to make Dominica a better place to live. So we are not bothered with the government. They raised their salary several times. Because
So you're simply not optimistic that government will bring up this minimum wage. You're just not optimistic at all.
Matt, the point I'm trying to make is, if they bring the minimum wage to $12 an hour, the government will fall. That is what Roosevelt Skerritt is saying. But we are saying, Dr. Fountain is saying, look, we have other pillars in the economy we're going to lift to ensure that the government is able to pay the $12 an hour. For example, Matt, we can make millions of dollars in water. These guys sit down there and take all of the CBI money and build apartments for their supporters. Not a single supporter can say, this is the documents that make me know I own an apartment. Hundreds of millions of dollars gone down the drain. Matt, I just come out, I have a gentleman with me. I just come out and harvest about 200 breadfruit, Matt. You have to pick it the same day the boat is leaving for it not to spoil. Matt, a United Workers' Party government will ensure, working with the boat owners, will ensure that the boat can chill the food, chill it, so you can ship thousands of breadfruit, not just to the region, Matt, not just to Antigua and Anguilla and Totola, to England. 15 pounds per breadfruit in England. And these guys sit down there with CBI money, literally making bomb mats. We are going to transform the economy. We are going to make the $12 an hour because we're going to grow the economy under Dr. Fountain. But I don't understand it. When Mr. Skerritt look at the figures, you see, for example, Matt, plantain and bananas are ripening on the farms in Wesley. And Julian Jeremy doesn't even want to go in his garden anymore. Ask Mark Clay. Mark Clay is a foot soldier of the Labour Party. He doesn't even want to go in the garden. Fig ripen, Matt. As Benji Philip, plantain ripen on him. These guys give you plantain plants and they forget somehow that the food going to come in. To create wealth, to bring the export of non-banana crops and bananas to $700 million a year as articulated by Roosevelt Skerritt. You have to create markets. You have to get the vessel you promised the farmers for years. You have to get it. So when the farmers bring the food to the longhouse, it is in a chill. And from the chill, it goes to the ship that have chilling facilities. So when the Hawks get the food, 30%, 40% wouldn't spoil. That is the problem with Dominica. Agriculture can be a pillar of the Dominican economy, but we have to spend millions wisely to ensure that the money reach where it's supposed to reach. So I am saying, no matter what they promise, because it is clear, based on what they are saying now, after 25 years, that an election is imminent.
Well, let me ask you a question, because you live in that area, and I heard the minister saying that the international airport is 40% complete. What's your own assessment? You're in the construction business. I'm sure you have an eye for that. What's your assessment as to when that international airport, if any, will be completed?
Matt, a few years ago, I said it publicly that if, as articulated by Roosevelt Skerritt, in 2026, aircrafts are going to land. If that is come true, a matter of fact, I am selling all of my worldly possessions and go on Market Street in Antigua and beg Matt. But as I speak to you now, I am not aware, and I look and I of course I use the glasses. I look in and I'm not seeing a single steel stand up. But last week, they acquired 6 more acres of land. Last week, that was where the airport going. They don't have a plan, Matt. They talk about they acquired 6 more acres of land for the tunnel. They finally conclude that they have to put a tunnel under the airstrip to connect Woodford Hill to Wesley, so that they can access Portsmouth. So there's going to be a road underneath the strip. It's only last week they paid those people for the property, for the thing. Them people don't know what they're about. They are now telling some property owners, get a place to rent and we will pay the rent. But you find that is proper planning. You find that is strategic planning. But they are taking soil from the airstrip area and dumping it up in Job, but prime agricultural land, destroying in the process. The man don't know what they're about. I am absolutely convinced that it's taking another 5-6 years for that project to complete if the Chinese come and assist. Because the way, the rate the money is being spent, you cannot come to the Dominican people, tell them you're going to spend Bila International Airport are going to cost some 600 and something million US dollars, and you pass that long time, and a column is not leaving the foundation, going up to the sky yet. Wasteful spending, a lack of vision, a lack of planning. No plan was approved.
So again, it's not 40% complete. Your assessment is not 40% complete.
Not at all, Matt. They're still moving soil from the foundation trench. Look, one of them days, they divert in the palm tree area. They divert a little section of the road where Ghana Didier dwelling house was located. Now they're breaking that down. So they divert the road across the boundary line of the airport to come back to the Chinese village. It cannot be 40% complete. It cannot be. If you come there and you look, you will say to her and you'll realize that, Matt. Look, today they cannot work too much water on the strip. So it's a lack of planning. I continue to say, people are saying, what's the people this, what's the people that? We want the airport. So we are making these sacrifices, Matt. But it's not little money that project they're going to take. And we not see no end in sight. And what I want the Prime Minister to do is to come and update the Dominican people. He told us that plane going to land in 2026. He's satisfied. Is he satisfied that the plane really going to land in 2026? No Wesley person will agree with him, man. So we are being fed with individuals that don't know what the project entails, and that is the problem, Matt.
Okay.
But I want to close by saying the United Workers' Party is focused. We are ready for leadership. We have a team, Matt, second to none. Matt was in Cassibus last week with the teacher Ernie Johnson, a scholar, Matt, Laplaine, a scholar, Matt. We have a team. You have Roseau Central. So a scholar, Matt, we have a team led by the doctor, the IMF economists, that know the work, that know what to be done, just waiting for the Dominican people to give us the mandate to transform this country. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you. I suspect to be connected with Dr. Fountain via StreamYard.
KFC. KFC. Looking for some place to go. Variety meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
What? Don't touch pocket that you. Fresh market. We are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well stocked supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meats prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. Everybody that comes and your pocket that you. Fresh market,
Only Quartz is turning up the heat. Get 25% off credit, 15% off cash store-wide. And when you shop with Ready Finance for 24 months or more, unlock an extra 5% off. The clock is ticking. The deals are real. One day, one chance, one serious sale. This Monday at every Quartz store. Quartz, bringing value home. Terms and conditions apply.
Right on cue. Right on cue.
All right, let's see if we can connect with Dr. Thompson Fountain at this time. Dr. Fountain, are you there?
Matt, good morning to you. Yes,
good morning.
Good morning. And clear. Very good morning to you.
Loud and clear. Yes, good morning and welcome. Doc, I know it's, what time is it right now? What time is it there right now? It's 6 minutes after 10 o'clock in the morning. Dr. Fountain, I want to say a pleasant good morning to you. We're here looking at the budget. I'm sure you have, of course, paid some attention over the past two days, if you will. What is your immediate reaction to what, I know there's a lot more to review. What is your immediate reaction to what you've heard thus far from the finance minister?
My immediate reaction, Matt, and thank you for the opportunity, and good morning to your listeners. My first reaction, having read the budget thoroughly, is that it is not a budget for, in the sense that it does not address some of the immediate problems that we see in the country. And that for me is very concerning.
We heard from the finance minister, and I'm sure you've heard it yourself. Some of the items that the government is now offering for 6 months. Let me see if I can get to that specific voice notes that was played there over the weekend and have been repeated all over. I just want to play this for you so you can hear for yourself. I'm sure you may have heard it.
Continue supporting families across the country. We'll be expanding the list of exempted items in the upcoming financial year for a period of 6 months. Exemption of value-added tax on salted herrings, codfish, onions, garlic, split peas, red beans, black-eyed peas, lentils, pigeon peas, cream of wheat, cornmeal, oats, luncheon meat, canned corned beef, canned herring, canned sardines, canned tuna, canned mackerel, cereals, wheat, bran, etc., biscuits, unsweetened as well, orange juice, tomato ketchup, toothpaste, laundry detergents, toilet paper, sanitary napkins. And Mr. Speaker, we'll also remove import duty on pigeon peas, luncheon meat, canned corned beef, cereals, biscuits, orange juice, tomato ketchup, toothpaste, laundry detergent, almond milk, soy milk. These additions will take effect October 1.
Box. We now carry a fully stocked in granola fertilizer.
Dr. Fontaine, do you think these measures have gone far enough?
Matt, I'm trying to understand what is the purpose of this really, and what is it trying to achieve? Some of those items I'm seeing there, these are not necessarily healthy foods that have been imported into Dominica. You're talking about canned sardines and canned corned beef and so on, and it's not clear to me what the policy is. In any case, Matt, this is only going to be for 6 months. So what's going to happen is that if, depending on the time the business people bring in those produce, we may see a reduction beginning in October. But then after the 6 months, it goes right back up. So it's not quite clear to me what exactly it is that they're trying to achieve. You should be using those policies to try to encourage local production, so that people, for example, would shift away from buying sardines to buying fresh tuna in the market. That's the kind of things you want to do. But I'm not seeing any of that being highlighted in the policies that have been put forward in the budget.
As a matter of fact, somebody is pointing there, just a public officer is now saying, Matt, so instead of investing in smoked fish industry, keep taxes on cereals, incentivize people to produce consume farine and toloma. We're making, these teen items, these canned items, and giving them tax free.
Yes, Matt. That's what I'm saying. It is shocking to me, and I don't know what that policy is all about. And quite frankly, I don't see any benefit. Trust me, we are not going to see any big reduction in those items. And even if we did, to what end? These are not necessarily healthy foods. What we want, Matt, is to encourage our domestic production, as the individual said, of smoked fish or dried. We have so much fish in this country. We can even do our own canning industry. That's what you want to encourage, not necessarily encourage the importation of some of those items.
Very, very interesting. So where do you think the government should have gone? I mean, you heard the budget. In terms of where we can give the people an ease, because cost of living is tremendously high.
Matt, the ease would have to come from the custom duties. That is where most of the problems are, and it should not be short term. So the items that he mentioned, these are items that will have no import duty. but you have import duties that are very, very high on a number of other items. And that is where the relief has to be. Relief has to be for homeowners trying to build a home. Relief has to be from individuals trying to import a vehicle. Relief has to be for farmers trying to get inputs into their land. These are the kind of things that you want to get relief for, because at the end of the day, what you want to do is encourage your domestic industries as much as possible, encourage increased farming, encourage increased fishing. So those policies should be directed at doing that, but I'm not seeing any of that in this budget. But Matt, you know, my biggest concern that I have with the overall budget as well is just in terms of its financing. The government, they're claiming that they're going to have $1.1 billion to fund this budget from CBI and tax revenues. CBI, they say, account for about 60%. So they're estimating CBI to be over $600 million. Now, that is very interesting, because what the government did not do in this budget is to indicate how much they collected from CBI last year. I recall, last fiscal year, I recall an IMF report which indicated that the CBI was literally, shrinking. And at one point, it had dropped by almost 50%. Now, they estimated they would get 600 million last year. Did they get that amount to even project or budget an additional $600 million this year? But the thing that struck me most in this budget, and the line that really screamed at me from this budget, is that notwithstanding 60% of the budget is on the CBI, the minister indicated, and I quote, however, given that most of the CBI resources are currently being allocated to the construction of the international airport and the international policy changes which could reduce CBI flows, now is the time to accelerate efforts to become less reliant on CBI. So
he's blowing hot and cold there.
Yes, an acknowledgement that you need to, but nothing in the budget speaks to reducing that reliance. What happens if in midstream $600 million is no longer available? Does that mean the airport shuts down? Does that mean that we no longer have the additional $200 million that goes towards paying of salaries, paying the NEP workers and so on? What happens in this? And I just don't see that. I get the sense that this particular budget was not carefully thought out. The policies that have been put forward are not necessarily making sense to me. And I have a number of those areas that I have picked on that's just not clear. For example, Matt, there is an effort to encourage people to take loans at the aid bank, and they say that the loans will be at 2%. But just in July, letters were sent out to individuals who have loans with the aid bank that they were going to increase the amount that they're going to pay from 6% to 8%. And now I'm seeing that they're talking about giving student loans at 2%. So what is it? Is it 2% or is it 8%? All of those things are just not clear to me. And a lot of it seems to me in this budget was to appease a certain segment of Dominica. But at the end of the day, it is not coherent. It is not built on solid, firm policy. And quite frankly, it does not help our current situation, which is high joblessness and very high cost of living.
Somebody was saying that I'm just asking the question, is it a poor man's budget? Is it?
Well, that's an interesting question, because a lot of things starts in October. I think that's what the person is alluding to. A number of the measures they say will begin in October. But even those measures, Matt, they're really half measures. I do not see them doing what we intend. For example, let me give you another for example, which I was hoping that the government would have really focused on. They talked about development of the agriculture sector. Now, if you're going to grow Dominica's economy, you absolutely have to put an emphasis on growing the agriculture sector. They have given $7 million, which is roughly the same amount, I think $80 million in recurrent spending to agriculture, and another $23 million in capital spending. So that's roughly $30 million. You talk about revamping a couple roads. The Cahome Salisbury Road is one of them. But there are just dozens and dozens of feeder roads all across Dominica that needs to be redone, that needs to be resurfaced, that needs to give farmers access to their land. They talk about 188 farmers been given coconut plants and 158 been given cocoa plants, but that is not enough. That's not enough to revamp the coconut industry. It's not enough to revamp the cocoa industry. So what exactly is the policy there? What exactly are they trying to do? When you can only give $30 million to the key engine of your growth, then there is a problem. So there is no coherent strategy, there is no coherent plan for the agriculture sector, and that to me is very worrisome. That is extremely worrisome because that is the way you're going to grow the economy. The other worrisome part, Matt, they're talking about measures. The government is talking about an investment in a water plant. That should not be the purview of government. It should be creating the enabling environment and allow the private sector to run a water plant. But their big project, it seems, after how many years? After 25 years in office, is to say that they can create 100 jobs to a water bottling plant. Why so little and why so late?
Very, very interesting. They also spoke about increasing the minimum wage, and they did not give a specific answer, but playing around as to saying that we're going to increase the minimum wage again. Your view on that? Because I know in your 10-point plan you spoke about increasing it to $12.
Yes, Matt. Yes, a minimum wage should have a figure attached to it. The government, they're clearly playing games. They're aware that we have been promoting $12 for the minimum wage. So they go in the budget and say that they're going to do it in October. But no figures are given. No appropriations are made for it. If you're going to move the minimum wage from wherever it is now to another level, that should be accounted for in the budget because the government has, I believe, over 3,000 NEP workers that will all qualify for that increase in the minimum wage. All right, but it is not in the budget. It has not been budgeted for. So what exactly are they trying to do? To just say you're going to change the minimum wage without giving any kind of background, not saying what it is, how many people are impacted, what it's going to be. It is just a matter of trying to throw the wool over people's eyes because we've been talking about a minimum wage, a very robust minimum wage, and a living wage as well that the people of Dominica are excited about. But I'm not seeing that in this budget.
Given the current status of the economy, how do you think that government will give this increase in terms of the minimum wage? Can they afford?
Well, I don't know how they're going to give it because it is not budgeted for. It is not in the budget. The budget makes allowance for some salary increases, and even there, if you've read the budget, it is not very clear. On the one hand, they are saying that they have agreed some 8% over 3 years for the public servants. And on the other one, they're saying that they continue to negotiate. All right. Now, that portion, I assume, is budgeted for, okay, because they're going to be giving those increases. So they would have made an allowance for additional few $1 million in the budget. But for the minimum wage, it is not there. So if, as they say, it's going to be done in October, will that really happen? Where is the money going to come from? It has not been budgeted.
Because as a matter of fact, somebody just brought to my attention that in 2023-24, that the budget promised for at least 6% salary increases for public officers. They got 0, and the ministers got 30%, and nobody said anything.
Yes, but I seem to recall that. I seem to recall that the last budget had some salary increases for public servants and nothing. Yeah, so again, it's a bag of empty promises. And as we say, promises comfort to a fool. And I understand that the Dominican public are rightly wary and not taking that on because they understand that these are just, cut and paste policy measures that they have tried in the past have not worked. And it's there again, and they will revisit it next budget year.
So you think it's not, there's nothing significant in this budget there, 25-26?
Nothing, Matt, that can make me, because as I said, I was looking for a budget that would at least send a signal to the private sector, for example, that we're willing to do business with you, that we're willing to create an enabling environment that will allow for more growth of the private sector to take on some of those jobs, to take on some of those responsibilities. And you could do that through your incomes or your tax policies. I have not seen that in place. I have not seen any measures to address the huge debt that is owed to the private sector. A number of small businesses that depend upon government LPOs have not been paid, and they're really struggling. No effort to correct that. So it means that there, in this
As a matter
budget,
of fact, a
there is
lot
no
of businesses are
signal
no
to
longer giving
the
help to the
private
government.
sector that the
Yes.
government is willing to create that environment that will allow them to grow and to thrive. And that is what is critical at this time. Secondly, I talked about it earlier, the agriculture sector. Those half measures are not enough. 188 farmers giving coconut plants. Is that enough to revive the coconut sector? What about the cocoa? Is that enough? Are there plans to do a cocoa factory? If so, are those enough plants? You know, and so the idea that so much that needs to be done to tackle unemployment, to tackle the high cost of living, is just not there. And even the plan to tackle the high cost of living by exempting a few items from income is not good enough. We are going to see very, very small movements in those prices, you know, and because those prices are not controlled, there is no price control. There is nothing that to tell the business people that they have to reduce their price, you know.
Somebody's
And
asked
so,
me to ask you, of course, and of course you can call. Dr. Fountain is on Streamline, so you can, if you need to ask him a question, feel free to do so. You can engage him as well. Mr. Thompson Fountain, how does the CBI funds integrate into the budget, and what he thinks, or what you think about it?
all right. So the CBI funds, the way the government has it now, about 200 million. Okay, let me kind of step back to make it very clear, and I'll just use rounded numbers. So about $600 million is considered to be recurrent spending. That means spending on salaries, on tax, on debt repayments, spending on government goods and services. That's recurrent. And then you have an additional 800 million, an additional 600 million that will go towards capital projects, so the roads, the airport, and so on. From that $600 million, the government is expecting to raise about $400 million through taxes and other fees. Okay, so the 200 million extra will come from the CBI, which leaves about $400 million that will go towards the capital spending from CBI. So from the 600 million that they are projecting that they will get from CBI, about 200 million will go towards recurrent spending. That is to pay the NAP workers, to pay government workers, to probably pay some of the salary increases that they're promising and so on. But $400 million, importantly, will go towards capital projects, and in particular, the international airport. So that is how they intend to distribute the CBI money. My concern, of course, is what was the CBI last year? We've not yet seen those numbers. What was it? Did they realize the 600 million they budgeted for last year? Is it not true that the CBI has already to experience severe problems in terms of the amount collected? If that is the case, it means that two things are going to happen. You either stop work on the airport this year, or you have to cut back on significantly on your recurrent spending. And that is a big problem.
Very, very, very interesting. They also, of course, claim there that the airport is 40% complete. Dr. Thompson Fountain, do you really believe that?
But I was surprised. I was surprised because I was in Wesley just on Saturday, and I looked around. I mean, I'm no expert, but from what I saw, that does not seem to me, just from a naked look. I could be wrong. Probably there is something going on that I could not see visually. But 40%, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I suspect it's a bit of a stretch, considering that there's no infrastructure on there. I understand at one point there was talk about beginning to build the terminal even before they put down the airstrip. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that area. The government says it's 40%. So let's see. Planes will be landing in the national airport next year, from what the budget is saying. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I hope that's the case, because it's an important thing for the country. But I don't know.
But you're not against an international airport, though. No.
No, I'm not mad. I'm not. I think it's good for the country. It's a good thing.
But whether we can afford it at this time is a different question.
Well, Matt, the way they're affording it is through the CBI program. As you see, $400 million allocated from this year's budget. Just about $400 million allocated towards the airport project. So it appears to me that at least for now, based on what we heard from Dr. McIntyre, that there is enough money to fund the international airport. But let's see if those monies keep coming in. And that to me is a big concern, whether or not the CBI monies will continue to come in at the levels that they have been coming in for the past 2 to 3 years.
Because we're hearing also that the CBI is almost in the precipice at this time, and the monies that used to come in are no longer coming in.
That is correct, Matt. And I clearly remember the CBI report that the government did not refute, that said that the CBI was down by almost 50%. So it's just not clear. And that's why I'm saying that, normally in the past, government would, when they're doing their budget, they would actually give you some actual numbers that you could go based against. So, for example, now that they're projecting $600 million for CBI, they say, well, last year we collected 500 million or 400 million, and next year we expect to collect. But none of that is in the budget, and the estimates have not been made public. So I cannot look at those numbers to see, because if for example, the last fiscal year, if they only raised $300 million, then how are they going to raise $600 million this year? Okay, but without those numbers, we are only left to guess, and I suspect that is deliberate, because they've done better in the past. In the past,
hold on, let me take a phone call. Are you there, scholar?
Yes, Matt, I want to ask Dr. Fountain a question.
Ask a question. Go ahead.
No, the government spoke about civil servants and getting 2% interest on their loan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I want to find out, now, how many public servants getting 3,005 a month? That is one question. No, Matt, you have to have your land. Now, if you go and buy the land, you have to pay a loan to get the land, right? Then I already talked something about you have to as a bill within 6 months. Now, after you take that loan, Dr. Fountain, to buy your land, then you have to that 2% you said you give public servants. How that work out? Is that feasible? I'm just asking. Because not too many public servants get 3,005. You understand? So those that are lower than that, they will not benefit. But even those that are getting 3,005, how that work out, Dr. Ford? Because you have to buy the land, you have to pay for that, and then you have to try to build the house. Thank you.
Okay, so Matt, that's a very good question. What the budget states is that the government of Dominica will allow public servants who are making at least 45,000. Sorry, not at least, at most 45. So anybody making 45,000 a year and below will qualify for that concessionary 2%. Okay, so it means that if you're making 1,005 and you feel the bank will give you a loan, or you will get a loan for that process, you are also entitled. Okay, so 45,000 is the maximum, which is roughly $3,750 a month. So anybody making that amount or below will qualify for the 2% housing loan, which, Matt, is not a bad idea. I think it's good that you can give public servants this concessionary rate. It is really a good thing. The question that the caller is raising obviously has to do with the cost of stuff, because you're going to need the land, and plus the housing. And any decent house is rough. I'm sure a decent house is probably $150,000 to $200,000. A
Really?
$200,000
I think it's more than that.
It's probably more than that. But let's assume, for argument's sake,
300,000, 250,000, yeah.
Okay, 250,000. Talking about the 30-year mortgage is at least $1,800. All right. So, even at 2%. So, whilst it's a good thing, I think it should be linked to a significant increase in public servants' salaries. Okay, because if, for example, somebody is making say $1,500, and you give them a 3% increase, they're only going to get $45 more a month. $45 more a month is not going to help you to get a loan in the bank, So I believe that those policies, they need to support each other. While the access to housing and affordable housing is a good one, and that is something we have been advocating for, that is the way to go. For people who have the ability to let them get access to this low cost so that they can build their homes, that's a good thing. But that has to be joined with a policy that sees a gradual, some better increases in public servant salaries. The level of increases that we have, the level of salaries that we have now, simply does not lend itself necessarily to a lot of people being able to comfortably access this particular facility that the government is putting forward.
I know I spent some time on the cannabis industry just maybe 2 weeks ago. There was a big meeting, a big conference about that as well. I heard no mention of that specifically in the budget. And somebody's asked me to ask Dr. Fontaine, what about the coffee industry? They promised a coffee factory. Where is that now? What about the 2 boats promised to the farmers to export fresh produce? Where is that?
But that is the point I'm making exactly. The problem that we have now in Dominica is the lack of access to the markets. We do not have access in particular to markets to the south, to Martinique and to Barbados and to Trinidad. We do not have access down south that is regular and reliable. Why not focus on that? Because farmers on their own are growing stuff. I was in the Wesley area on Saturday, and I was just blown away by the wide variety of stuff that's available, of foodstuffs, of fruits and vegetables and pumpkins and watermelons and avocados and you name it, papaya, everything that you can think of is available, but they are literally rotting on the hands of the farmers because they don't have access to the market. So why not focus on that? Why not focus on that market? Coffee, why not focus on the coffee industry? Or if you're going to do a cocoa industry, do it in a way that is systematic, do it in a way that you can really, do, and then link that to a chocolate factory so that the people know that when they grow the cocoa, they have access. But those policies, again, they're just, they're scattered. It's like scattershot, you're selling stuff on the wall, hoping that something will stick. But that's not how you build a country. That's not how you create jobs. That's not how you put confidence in people. The policies that I have seen, they simply make no sense. This looks like knee-jerk reactions, and to some extent, I see a reflection of the 10 pillars trying to address some of the issues that we raise in our 10 pillars and not doing a very good job of it.
Man, the government do not want the people to know the amount of money that is coming, so that's why by design they're keeping these figures out. 449, somebody's just making a note of that. And I just want to, of course, refer somebody asking another question. Is there anything in the budget for retirees? I don't know. Was there?
Yes, but I thought I saw something being made, and I think some $40 million been set aside for persons who are retiring and so on out of the public service. So hopefully the problems that we've had of individuals working all their lives in the public service and not being able to get their gratuity, hopefully that is addressed. I think an allocation was made. As to whether it's enough to deal with that issue, because that was a very serious problem that people had. They were retiring and they were not able to get their gratuity at the same time that they retired. An allocation has been made in this budget. It's not clear to me whether this allocation is enough to meet, because again, the information that we're given is not a lot of information. In terms of how many people are expected to retire this year, in terms of those who have been owed from past years, none of that information is made available. So I cannot say that the 40 or so million that I see that's been sent or put towards that, whether it will be enough to meet the needs of all the people who are retiring.
Another phone call there coming in there. Are you there, caller?
I'm right there.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Fountain, a pleasant good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, sir.
I always have a concern of our economy. And even if this government comes and they give civil servants a certain percentage, what going to be the impact on the economy? Because we seems to be below the water. We need something that can even get us to float. We may not get beyond the water for now, but at least we need something in our economy that can get us to float. Otherwise, we're going to continue plunging down deeper and deeper and deeper. And from your perspective, do you see anything in this budget from a short-term point of view that may have an impact on the economy? Because no matter what tax and that they cut and tax they cut and this and that and give this and give these few things, the economy is very important to look at. Because unless something come up now that can have an impact in the economy, it's going to continue to get worse. Well, I don't know if it can get worse than how it is now, but it's definitely going to get worse. So from your point of view, sensitize us on anything that you may see that can have an impact right now as the economy needs. Thank you very much, Mr. Fountain, and have a blessing.
A question to you.
Yes, caller, and thank you very much for this question. To be quite honest, the measures that the government has in this budget, they do not go far enough to make that significant impact on the economy. And I've given examples. Only $30 million that goes towards agriculture, just about the same amount from last year. Okay, and at the end of the day, there is some production happening in Dominica, but farmers can't get their produce out fast enough. That is not tackled. For there to be an impact on the economy, it has to be that agriculture has to play a much bigger role. By that I mean it has to be better organized. You know, it has to be mixed with some agro-processing. I've not seen any incentives for agro-processing industry, that can be able to absorb those production that we're seeing now. All right, there is talk in the budget about creating a few jobs in the water industry, and then there's also talk that they've created about 1,000 jobs in the construction sector, international airport, the hydro plant, and so on. But those jobs, remember, the majority of those jobs are not given to Dominicans. Okay, so how are we going to see an impact? I was hoping to hear the government say that going forward, we will ensure that so much more of our people are employed in those projects, but nothing like that is said. They just made a reference to those who are currently employed with no focus on how they can create an additional space for more employment, for more people from Dominica. So quite frankly, I don't see any hope in this budget as far as revamping the economy of Dominica. I don't see it as a job creation, as a job creator. I don't see it as any serious attempt to tackle the issue of unemployment and economic growth. It does not carry it in this budget. It does not have the signals that are necessary in any budget to incentivize the private sector or give them incentives to want to put the money into the country. I don't see that in there. I don't see how they're going to transform the key sectors, even tourism.
So you're saying, from what I gather, there's little hope there in that budget? Little hope for the people of Dominica?
There is not much hope, Matt. It is a lot of promises. A lot of promises that I see. So the promise to give salary increases, but the promise was done last year, as we said in last year's budget. It never happened. You know, there's a lot of promises. Promise to do this, promise to do the other. But I get the sense that at the end of the day, you're going to have a budget, as we've seen in the past, that underperforms. You know, one of the things that we have to be very clear about is that under this government of Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarlett, we have seen where the budget usually it does not, the performance of the budget is not 100%. So you budget for 1.2 million and it turns out that you end up executing about 700 million or 600 million. It never gets to that level. And maybe that's the reason why we saw a reduction. The budget moved from $1.4 million last fiscal year to 1.2 million. We have a cut in the budget, not an increase. So, to the caller's question, I'm sorry, I have to be very, very pessimistic about this budget. While I applaud the few measures to address some of the concerns of public servants through the housing, the issue of the aid bank. I raised the concern of the aid bank, while I welcome a 2% for students. But the fact of the matter is, there are people with aid bank loans paying 8% just in July. That was raised. So we need to understand what exactly is going on. Are they going to bring everybody's thing back to 2%? Or are they going to have some people paying 8% and some people paying 2%? These are some of the questions that I have that I would like clarity on from this government.
Somebody saying, when was the last, because you used to work in the statistics division some time ago, when was the last census done in Dominica? In the absence of population census, how is the government expect to seriously respond to the social and socio-economic needs of the people? Man, this government appears to be making decisions in the absence of data and information. Do you agree?
But I agree. And part of the problem the government has is that they have been hiding numbers. My understanding is that when the budget of 2011 was conducted, they realized the numbers showed a shrinking population, and they hid the numbers. But bear in mind, we had this major Hurricane Maria in 2017, which would have further reduced the numbers. Because just on my own estimation, 4,000 to 5,000 persons migrated after Hurricane Maria. All right. So the question then becomes, what really is the size of the population, and how do you know how many people are there? In terms of age groups, in terms of the what you're doing for the schools and so on. What we have seen is shrinking down of school populations. Many of the schools. In my area, for example, the Monjan school, I think this year they probably have one new student, either one or two new students in an entire school. You cannot keep a pipeline if you're only going to have one or two students, signing up every year, and that seems to be a common problem throughout.
So how are they making these decisions, Dr. Fountain, without any data? Does that really make sense?
And it makes absolutely no sense. Good, solid decisions are based upon the availability of good data. This government, for whatever reason, has taken the position that they don't need data, they don't require data, they don't invest in data collection and analysis, and that is a major, major problem. The caller is absolutely correct. Without good data, you cannot make good decisions.
Very, very, very interesting there. But again, I mean, we're looking for solutions. While we talk about what the government, and some people might say, Doctor, don't tell these people what plans you may have, but we're looking for answers. We're looking for solutions, Doctor. If you were the Prime Minister at this point in time, and you sort of touched on some measures that you would have implemented if you were the Prime Minister at this time, forward thinking, where do we go from here?
Matt, in terms of what would be the focus for me, I would have to look at areas where I can create jobs for the people of Dominica. All right. And that would mean a much heavier investment in the agriculture sector, a much heavier investment in the manufacturing sector, a much heavier investment in tourism. All right. And those, to me, those key areas are critical, because that is where you begin to create jobs. That's where you begin to put people to work, and you begin to grow the economy. Agriculture holds the best hope for Dominica at this time. $40 million investment in agriculture in an entire year is absolutely not enough. A bigger share of the budget should have gone towards agriculture. In other words, what the government needs to do, identify the areas that will grow the economy and decide that they're going to put the lion's share of resources into those areas. If it means having to take on additional fund borrowing, just to kickstart some areas, get the plants in, get the support to the farmers in, get the factories organized and set up. That is what needs to be done, But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing this concern on the part of the government to grow this economy. That is how you put people out of poverty, by allowing them to earn, by allowing them to work, by allowing them to have something to look forward to. I'm not seeing that. And that is what, as if I were the Prime Minister, I would be doing, creating this hope in the people, tackling the agriculture sector, tackling the manufacturing sector, but also importantly, working more closely with the private sector, opening up the country for foreign direct investment, saying, okay, these are the areas we are going to target. We're going to target manufacturing. We want to see 4, 5, 6 factories doing agro processing in Dominica. We want to see 3 or 4 water bottling plants. Let us go to the private sector, see what kind of incentives we can offer them to invest in those areas. There is capital out there. There are people who have money, even Dominican diaspora, who have resources and looking for areas to invest. They want to do that. In addition to that, Matt, I would invest very heavily in ensuring that, again, the private sector, but there is some movement from Dominica to Martinique and Barbados, because these are huge markets that are just waiting for produce from Dominica, but they're not being served because we do not have the transportation. Why not ensure that that is done to allow an outlet for our farmers? The farmers are producing. I mean, I'm surprised to see the amount of produce that is still going on in Dominica, but the vast majority of it is going to waste. And
Let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yes, Matt, I'm there. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Fountain.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Dr. Fountain, we all agree that agriculture should be the foundation of Dominica economy. But when you say if it means that we got to borrow money to jumpstart or kickstart the agricultural industry, I cannot differ. I disagree with that because Dominica has the money. We should be focusing on bringing back the billions of dollars that's not been accounted for. Because our debt already is more than 100% of our GDP. So instead of borrowing any more money, Roosevelt carried us to give Dominica what belongs to them, which is the resources of the country. And enough force, enough effort is not being made to get that money back in Dominica. And it's putting an extra burden on the next generation. They have billions of dollars. How are we going to pay it back? These guys should be concentrating on growing the economy. And I agree with you in agriculture and tourism, agro processing and so on. That's what they should be concentrating on, growing the economy so people have better living wage, better living conditions. But in terms of borrowing money, when we have billions of dollars missing, I think that's a problem for me.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, Matt, I understand the concern of the caller. When I say borrowing, because we have our concerns about the CBI and the ability of where the CBI monies are. I'm saying that it is so critical now to jumpstart, to kickstart, to infuse some life into agriculture manufacturing, that if it means doing that in the short term, let us do it so that we can get those things going. It will pay itself back. That is good borrowing. That is solid borrowing. Borrowing that you can invest in sectors of the economy that can grow the economy. That is not frivolous spending. That is good. That is good borrowing. I understand the caller's concern perfectly. Yeah, the first option must be the CBI. But in the absence of that, we have to look at alternatives. And I'm saying that we have to invest more heavily. $30 million is not going to cut it. We need an additional amount. We need more. We need a Herculean plan. We need a big plan for those sectors that can create the jobs and the spin-offs. Because as our agriculture sector grows, it's going to create jobs in manufacturing, it's going to create jobs in advertising, it's going to create jobs in marketing, in the computer area. I mean, you have all sorts of spin-offs out of that particular investment, but we need to
Another
get that.
telephone call. Are you there, caller? Yes. Oh, sorry about that. Let's move to the next call. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yes, Matt. Good morning, Dr. Fountain. Matt,
Yes,
I would like to ask the caller who said he did not agree that. What do we do in the meantime? We haven't gotten the money. That's where you have to be thinking. We haven't gotten the money yet. What do we do? Sit down another 25 years waiting to get that money, like Labour Party did? No, we got to borrow the money and put it in a good investment into agriculture. I believe that we will get that money back in a very short time. Good morning.
I think that's Dr. Fountain made that point. Yes. Doc, you there?
Yes, indeed. Yes, man. Absolutely. That was my point exactly. Yeah. The idea is get the CBI in to work for us, but it does not. We don't know where it is. That is something that might take some time to get back to the country. But in the meantime, we need to get these engines of growth started. We need to crank them up. We need to get people working. We need to put the young people to work. We need to create hope and enthusiasm about our economy. And that is not there.
Somebody's making the point too, and I sort of agree that the World Economic Forum, WEF, projects a population decrease for Dominica. And they're asking, so who are we really putting all these huge schools and buildings for? Who are we building? And you just made the point earlier that we don't have any population, so who are we building these big buildings for? Doctor.
Yes, Matt, that is, yeah. You know, that was what we have this big Goodwill Secondary, we have this big grammar school and so on. And that's a legitimate question. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers currently. Are we building for the future? But you need to keep people in Dominica first. You need to keep people of childbearing age in Dominica so that they can have their children here in this country. That is not happening. The way you keep people of childbearing age in the country is by creating jobs and opportunities. That is where the focus has to be, you know. So I think our priorities and is just misguided. I get the sense, Matt, that there is no one in control of this government in the sense that there is not enough thinking that's taking place. There is not enough planning. There is not enough strategizing. You know, that critical thinking that you must bring to bear on a country like Dominica to deal with the challenges, to encourage, and then to do what is necessary. I get the sense that is lacking. So people just, take up the budget from last year and say, okay, well, let us put that back. Let us, rewrite this portion and so on. That seems to be what is going on, as against a critical thinking or strategizing on the way forward. That is lacking. Because at the end of the day, the economy is not growing as much. The economy is not doing much, and that is the fundamental problem that we've had. And we've had that for many, many, many years.
Clearly, Doctor, it appears that somebody's suggesting there that you are the economist that can return Dominica to what we need at this point. Are you ready for this kind of job? Are you ready?
Absolutely, Matt. We have come up with those 10 pillars through careful planning and strategizing. We believe that those 10 pillars, when executed, will restore Dominica to a path of sustained growth, because it deals with every aspect: social, economic, developmental, infrastructure, climate change issues. It's very comprehensive, and that's what is required. You need comprehensive planning. You need policies in one area to support your policies in another area, and it has to come together. And I believe that is what gives us the edge, United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, over the Labour Party government. Although they have been there for 25 years, they seem to be doing the same thing over and over again. And that has only given us growth of about one. Even if you remove the big reduction after Maria of some 24% of GDP, the economy has been growing by just about 1% every year. So that means they are not getting it right. They have not been able to get it right. And here it is, we are proposing that a United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, will be able to grow the economy by 5 to 7% based on those policies that we have developed and are developing as we go forward, because we understand what it is that's required to move this country.
So you're saying that the United Workers' Party needs to be given a chance to do just that, huh?
Yes, Matt, and I trust the people of Dominica will understand that after 25 years, if the government has not delivered, they're not going to deliver again. After 25 years is a long time. For some people, that is a quarter of the that is more than a quarter of their lifetime. Some people that's a whole half a lifetime. So it's a very long time, and it is clear from the evidence that this government has not been able to deliver where it matters most. And now is the time to give a fresh look to a different group of people who have the expertise, who have the knowledge, and more importantly, man, who have the best interest of the Dominican public at heart. I think that's what sets us apart from this Labour Party government. We do have the best interest of the Dominican public at heart. So that if we have access to those CBI resources, we'll invest it back in the people. We'll invest it back in sustainable ventures that can keep making and creating wealth. We have not seen that with this government. And so, it's a complete different outlook in terms of the two groups that we're talking about. One that has been there 25 years without success, and one that is knocking on the door with the plans that we believe can turn this country around. And that's why we continue to ask the people of Dominica to give us that chance, considering especially that for the 5 years that the United Workers' Party was in government between 1995 and 2000, the United Workers' Party, under the leadership of Mr. Edison James, delivered big and well, and that same idea, that same process is there. We want that opportunity again to deliver as big as we did, or even bigger than we did between 1995.
Let's take a final call before we move on there with Dr. Fountain. Hello, talk to me. Yes?
Yes, shortly, it's me again.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Fountain, you have been criticized of the 10 pillar project that you put on the table. You have been criticized that there is a possibility that they may just plunge down the economy deeper than it is right now. How do you go about saying things to us, that letting us know directly that it will not be so? Because there are a lot of people listen to the critics there that you got when you put it on the table, and a few people are concerned. I myself, I am on the ground and I listened, and that is some of the concern that you have plans that may plunge down the economy a bit deeper when you get there. And things. So why you have the opportunity, I take the opportunity myself to put that question to you, so that some of them may hear, because they are listening. Thank you.
In other words, the naysayers are saying something different, Dr. Fountain.
Yes, Madam, I thank the caller for that opportunity. What the 10 pillar offers to the people of Dominica is an opportunity to grow the economy. And as I said, we are projecting growth rates of between 5 and 7% based on the 10 pillars. And the reason for that is because we are going to be focusing on areas of growth in agriculture, in manufacturing, agro-processing, our water industries, our tourism product, using our Kalinagos, using our ecotourism, our cultural industry, our entertainment industry, our sports tourism. These are specific areas that we believe that we can put the resources into and get the desired results. In addition to that, Matt, the 10 pillars has place for our diaspora to transform what they have been doing, not just sending blue barrels to Dominica, but to invest, to be part of the whole process of development. So I believe that what this 10 pillars offers is an opportunity to grow the economy. After more than almost 40 years as an economist, of doing those things, of thinking about this, of planning this with others who have the expertise, we believe that this will work for Dominica. It has the potential to create thousands and thousands of jobs. And that is what we need, And so you have people saying, in fact, I met, interestingly enough, Matt, the Labour Party operatives, what they have taken to doing is to, when people raise the 10 pillars and say, well, there is hope and so on, they say, Thompson can do nothing. That's what they have been telling their people, that I can do nothing. the fact of the matter is, man, I have a track record across the world, and now with that singular focus on Dominica, I believe, based on what we've done, based on the work that we've done, and the work that we still continue to do, that we will be able to deliver to the Dominican public. But how are they going to know if they don't give us the opportunity? So we need that opportunity to deliver. And we can only do it when we have the reins of government. And don't tell me to do it in opposition. It's not possible. We don't have the resources in opposition. We need to be in government to be able to achieve what we promise the Dominican public we can do, and we will be able to do it.
Dr. Fountain, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. We'll have Dr. Joshua Francis and the leader of the Freedom Party at 1 o'clock, of course, giving their own versions of the budget. But it is a pleasure always to talk to you, Doc. You always make yourself available when we ask. So again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
No problem. Let's do this and come back, Dominica. Let's do this and come back. We end with this one for the morning. And this one we call A Change Is Gonna Come. Sam Cooke in there in the morning. 3 after 11. 3 minutes after. Dr. Fountain, the leader of the United Workers' Party. His impressions on the